Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tonight Show podcast with me, Charlie Tolhurst, and of course, Zach Chambers tonight. It is, of course, the 14th of December. We're heading into the Christmas period now. Little bit of Christmas chat on the show later on, but of course, we're going to start off with Rwanda. I'm joined by late party sporters Zach James from All Days News. Hello, Zach.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, mate.
Well, the first bit of news, obviously, we're going to be talking about is what's been happening this week in the UK. And there's been lots of news. Rwanda has been the main focus this week. Immigration. Now, we know immigration is running at record numbers across the UK. I think last year, I think net migration was up to like 750,000 or something, if I remember. 745,000, I think, roughly. Just under 1 million people have been crossing the channel. That was net migration last year, I believe. But this year, record numbers of illegal migrants continue to cross the channel, and the government are trying to crack down on stopping small boats crossing. And the Rwanda bill has, I think, had its second or third reading in Parliament this week. And Sunak managed to keep a growing Tory rebellion out of his way. According to the latest news, MPs did back the Rwanda bill. It was a majority of 44, 313 to 69. Despite some Tory MPs, 25 abstained from the vote. So there was a rebellion. I mean, there was a little bit of there was definitely a rebellion in that vote there. But it was clear. I mean, we had Robert Jenrick, of course, former immigration minister, making a statement on that as well. I watched that statement. There was also a couple of other Tory MPs as well that made statements. Also, we saw Labour MPs, SNP made statements as well, and SNP members of Parliament as well. And Zach, I mean, that debate on Tuesday, after hearing all of the MPs' points of order, there was clearly a lot of division on the policy of sending migrants to Rwanda and also the small boats crisis affecting the channel at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say so. Not on the side of Labour or any of the opposition parties who have pretty much united against the policy. But it was the battle of the Conservatives and the Conservatives, the so-called five factions or the five families within the Conservatives, or the six, if we could just call it the normal Conservatives. Then you got the One Nation Conservatives. Then you got the Common Sense group of Conservatives. You got the Northern Research group of Conservatives, the New Conservatives, and the European Research group of Conservatives. That's more like less 5 paths in the pear tree, more like 6 tribes in a tree house or something like that. If you want to put it that way. It did pass comfortably at the end of the day, despite the massive briefings we got. There was going to be lots of rebellions to the point where it was going to be tight vote. Whips were getting worried. Even old Graham Stewart, the energy minister, who was at COP 28, decided to waste his time flying 6,000 miles back to get to a vote that wasn't even close, and then flying back into COP again as well. It was an incredible waste of time at the end of the day. It was all hyped up for nothing. It was a 40 majority. But let's look at the rebellions, really, because we're brief, we're going to get 40. There was about 34 of them, really and truly, 29 of them. There was some pairings. Some Labour MPs were unwell, so there was some pairings. But right now, the second reading of the safety of Rwanda bill at the second reading has passed for now. I mean, like, if you think about it, like, the rebels have all been, they weren't really that rebelly at all. They just sat on their green sofas, really, and abstained rather than having the guts to vote against, really, Charlie. But yeah, it's passed for now. That's the first fight is over. The big fight is going to be starting in the new year, I feel. The Rwanda bill is not on the legislation for the first week back in the Commons so far, but it will be when we get to the middle of January. And then it's going to be committee of the whole House. The government are in a bit. I still think they're in a bit predicament, really, because what you got is left-leaning conservatives, so the One Nation Conservative group, pretty much saying that if the bill gets tightened up and made harder, and that breaks more laws and convention that's already really stretches out as far as it can go, then they'll withdraw support. When you got, and then the other side, you got the ERG lot and the New Conservative, the five families, which I don't even know, don't have much of rebellion, even if they can only muster a few hundred. Well, not a few hundred, but only in the low figures. You got the ERG, the New Conservative lot, that said that, you know, if the bill isn't high enough, they're not going to vote for it further reading. They will withdraw the support for it. So this committee stage is going to be, well, it's not going to be fun. They're left for the government. I think, you know, they're in a predicament. They're screwed one side or screwed the other, really. You've got one guy shouting softer, softer, the other one shouting tougher, tougher. And there's no victors in this, really. And I still think we're in the perilous stage. I mean, if you look at the ERG lot that voted, some actually voted yes. I mean, like Michael Fabricant, he's a member of the ERG. You'd expect to be the sort of person that would probably vote with the ERG. And he's a member of the ERG, but he actually voted to approve the bill. You know, the likes of Duncan Smith who actually voted to support the bill. I still don't think the moment of danger is out, because if you think about it, you know, some of those who have voted yes are still willing to withdraw their support if, say, the bill is not hardened up. So I still feel like, for me, the Prime Minister is in a tricky position with this Rwanda bill. He signed the treaty, but like the bill, which, you know, the one that's got to be put into law, he's still got to go through. There's a committee of the whole House, and there's sides that could literally withdraw support if it, you know, doesn't suit their needs. And it's all one side saying this, one side saying that. It reminds you a lot of Brexit, really, when you had the hardcore ERG saying no deal Brexit, tough, 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 tough. The One Nation not saying no, got to be soft, get through, but got to be soft. And they can't even come together at the moment. I mean, yeah, okay, 44 majority at the moment is good. It's a lot better, healthy number than what was briefed earlier on. But I still feel like the real moment of danger has not at least come along for the moment. We're not out. Then the Prime Minister's not clear. He's got to make a choice. It's all going to be down to which side do we upset? Which side that has the least can we upset? What ones can? What side do we lose the least support from? I think the One Nation group of Conservatives are bigger alone than, say, the RG or the New Tories, for example, New Conservatives, for example. So the Common Sense group as well will probably have a few lots in it as well. But overall, if you think about it, there's probably more sort of centrist, left-leaning Conservative MPs in there than there are the right wingers. And, you know, they'll probably want to upset that side a little less than, you know, the One Nation lot. I mean, if it's still a moment of danger, I think, for the Prime Minister, because if you can't even get through. But we'll see. We will have to see. It's a long, long fight, and like they say, if you're in battle, the war is not over.
I have to say, I mean, by the way, with how this bill is going to work, okay? If this, I'll show you guys now. This is the result of what happened yesterday, announced in Parliament. I'll just play it very quickly to show you what the results were from this bill. Here is the announcement from the other day's debate.
Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's crucial Rwanda plan on asylum seekers. Let's hear the vote.
The noes to the left, 269.
Order. The ayes to the right, 313. The noes to the left, 269. So the ayes have it. The ayes have it unlocked.
So yeah, the ayes won. That ayes and noes. That they won. I believe again, Zach, the speaker Lindsay Hoyle has been off for a little while because I don't think he was present again in the chamber for that debate.
Yeah, no, I think he was there, but I think they were rotating a lot of the speakers, to be fair. he did return because he was at Prime Minister's Questions on Wednesday. He was in the chamber, I believe, on Tuesday as well. But there was just a lot of rotation between the chairs, I believe, as well. That day, I mean, Rosie Winterton was in the chair for that when the second reading results were let out. But Lindsay Hoyle has actually been in the chamber after recovering from COVID. But he has been there. Now, when we get to the committee of the whole House, he won't actually be chairing the proceedings because under the parliamentary rules, it's the chairman of the Ways and Means. So you're going to see Ella Langford, Ella Lang, chair that instead. Under the rules of the House of the whole committee, it's not the Speaker who does it; it's the chairman of the Ways and Means. So you're going to see her mainly chairing those proceedings, as well as the committee of the whole House. So you won't actually see Lindsay Hoyle for that bit as well. Once you get to the report stage and third reading, you will see hopefully Lindsay Hoyle. But otherwise, it is incumbent and traditional to see Ella Lang, one of the chairman of the Ways, Means and Deputy Speaker, chair that certain part of the bill. So yeah, you will see more of her in the next few weeks as well when the Safety Rwanda bill comes back to the Commons as well.
Yeah, and obviously this bill has to go through human rights laws, the obviously European Court of Human Rights and immigration stuff. That always has to go through European Courts of Rights and obviously normal courts as well. So there's a lot to it, and maybe the House of Lords could make amendments to it as well. We've seen amendments being put into other bills, so other legislation, and it's one of these things that's what we debate. That's how we make laws in this country. We debate them in Parliament. So Parliament is certainly getting spicy over the next few weeks. Obviously Christmas recess coming up as well, and the new year. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Moving on now from one Parliament now to another Parliament, and particularly on the news that I think a lot of Welsh Labour voters will not be wanting to hear. And I'm sure the Welsh people will be hearing, of course, now. Mark Drakeford has announced the other day that he will be stepping down as the First Minister of Wales. There is going to be a new leadership election for the Wales First Minister. I don't know if Labour are still going to be in power, or they have.
Yeah, they will be.
The most likely option is Wales will be having a new First Minister elected for Labour. A leadership contest will happen. What can we know about Mark Drakeford's leadership timing as First Minister? I think he was elected in 2018, I think, if I remember rightly. But yes, 20-mile-an-hour speed limit's been introduced across Wales and London as well under Labour there. So that's one thing. And of course, a lot of people might have criticised Drakeford for the way he imposed COVID rules, including fire break lockdowns, and also as well interesting guidance when it came to lockdowns and COVID-19 as well. Hospital waiting lists have gone up in Wales as well, across much of the UK as well, actually. NHS certainly needed more in terms of funding and stuff. So it's an interesting one, and he certainly had it all in a parliamentary debate the other day with the Conservative Conservative candidate. I think that was last year. We had a debate with Andrew Davis as well. So, yeah, Zach, what do you make to the resignation? I think on retirement, I should say, of Mark Drakeford as First Minister.
Yeah, he's going to be stepping down. And he did say 5 years. He was elected in 2018-19. So he's pretty much decided that he's obviously reached his 5 years and his decided the time is up. Not really surprising, to be fair, when he's promised that. At least he stuck to that promise in many ways as well. But I think a lot of Welsh Labour supporters will be disappointed he's gone. I think for him, he's represented a lot of what Wales is, a way of patriotism, the ability to run Wales. I think that's what obviously the Conservatives have a lot will be happy. I know the Plaid Cymru are quite disappointed to see him go because they're actually working with it as a supplying some a supply agreement in Parliament with them at the moment as well. But I looking at it, this is obviously a big change for Wales because obviously now no Mark Drakeford. I feel like a lot of people miss him. I feel like he brought a lot. The area as well where I feel he brought success. As obviously in 2021 when the Conservatives was doing quite well. across the country, and he was one of the areas that managed to get a bigger majority as well. I think there's a lot of people that trusted him to run Wales, and a good, he managed to deal with COVID well. I feel like, from what the voters thought of him. And yeah, I mean, the 20-mile-an-hour thing is probably the most controversial one, which I agree with most of the 20-mile-an-hour things. I imagine that might get a few changes along the way, but I think he'll remember for a lot of good things, actually, including his love of cheese, because Wales are full of cheese as well. But yeah, Mark Drakeford is stepping down, and he will be replaced in March, April time. There will be a new Welsh Conservative Labour leader. We now know that Vaughan Geffing, who I believe it runs, is the I think it's the economy minister in Wales, is the first one that has declared that he'll be running in the leadership election. And I feel like this is where most of the Drakeford vote is going to go to, on Vaughan Geffing, because he's been a close number 2. People say he's competent enough to do the job as well. He will be the first ethnic minority Welsh leader and Welsh First Minister, if so as well. We know that Jeremy Miles might have a look at it as well, potentially. He might have a shoe in his role to be the next Welsh Labour. Hannah Blythe as well, youngest, only like Canada for North Wales, or Inward Morgan potentially as well. And Toy is the Wales Council, and Rebecca Evans, the Finance Minister. They're very unlikely to run those two, but they've been linked and mentioned as well. So yeah, that's the sort of name. I expect Vaughan Geffing to be the favourite for now, based on his experience alone, his reach, and obviously, the fact that he's probably well known within Welsh politics quite a lot. So I think at the moment, Vaughan Geffing is probably the most likely to take the job at the moment. I think he's been around the media before, so he's very articulate. I think he knows his brief quite well, and he'll be in the charge of trying to get Labour through definitely in Wales to another Assembly election. Would you believe it or not? It will be. I know it's been 3 years since the last one, but blimey, it does go fast as well. So that's the key, I think, as well, is to for the Welsh Labour Party, to someone that's competent and good to lead the party into the next Assembly elections. Where I still think they're favourites, the Labour Party, no doubt about it. They're still his favourite. I mean, Drakeford's popularity took a little bit of a turn, but if you think about it as well, they're still Labour are still really popular in Wales, and I can't see any reason why they wouldn't be at the moment, unless no major mistakes are made and they've got a good leader on board. Then I expect that Labour will easily be the favourites going into the next Assembly election coming soon as well. So it's an important period, I think, coming up for Welsh Labour. But I feel like as well, there will probably be consensus. I still think Vaughan Geffing is the favourite, like I said. I think a lot of Starmer supporters will be able to get behind him. I know as well. Nick Thomas-Symonds has come out. Obviously, you remember the Labour shadow cabinet in Westminster as well, and is obviously Welsh MP. And I think Chris Bryant has come out in support of Vaughan Geffing as well. That's a significant one as well. The MP for Rhondda. So I feel, at the moment, I feel like Vaughan Geffing is most likely at the moment, but there will be other runners and riders as well. I don't expect this is going to be simply down to Vaughan Geffing and a few others as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that gets on. Of course, the Welsh leadership contest is going to be the big talking point over the next few months. They aim to get a leader in place, I think, by the spring of next year. So not that long away as well. So there'll be plenty of time for the Welsh candidates to get their campaigns running and give their pitches to why they want to become the First Minister. It's going to be an interesting development. We'll keep you updated on all that as well. Now, moving on now to some news we haven't covered for a little while now. We're going to talk about the wars now. The two wars that's going on, Russia and Ukraine. Putin, of course, making another statement the other day, just about the same old about Ukraine. Israel and Hamas war is still ongoing at the moment. Obviously, we know I think, the EU Parliament, there's been a vote on whether Ukraine should join the EU membership. I think that's been blocked by, I think they've been blocked by, I think Viktor Orban. I think he's been one of the ones that's been very vocal about Ukraine joining the EU. And also there's been a lot of developments as well in Israel as well. Joe Biden's been speaking about that as well. President of America as well. He's been talking about making some statements on the Israel war as well with Hamas. There's been more bombings, unfortunately, in parts of Gaza this week as well. Zach, what is the latest situation on the ground from both of the conflicts at the moment so far?
Yeah, I have to say the Israel Gaza thing at the moment has been quite, I feel like, significant developments on that. It does feel like at the moment that Israel is starting to lose some support from some allies. We had a UN resolution this week, and you can see the amount of countries that were calling for a ceasefire, voted for a ceasefire. Again, that's not going to happen. But there's a lot of the momentum is swinging that way, that the more countries want a ceasefire. But also as well, Joe Biden is obviously privately speaking to his obviously campaign donors and everything like that, and really, as well, campaign team and donors as well. And he was suggesting that, Netanyahu is losing support as well. And he's probably right on this. Netanyahu is losing support. He probably has to change some methods to be able to, get the confidence back. And like I mentioned, well, the UN voted unanimously for to put a ceasefire resolution as well. We I think in one part of the council there was another. I think it was the US vetoed it. So yeah, the UN is mostly on the same track, and there's the parts of it now using their veto to block resolutions, but what's also happened as well is there's one part of war going on in Israel, obviously, and Gaza. There's also been other developments as well. Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukrainian president, has been up on Capitol Hill this week, and talked about his efforts in his war, Ukraine-Russia war as well. Funding for that by the US is starting to run out. And obviously it needs a refill, but Republicans are making this quite difficult. United States Congress, they are not willing to pass an Israel-Ukraine bill until there has been concessions by Democrats regards to the domestic border itself between the United States and Mexico, which I have to say is a bit of a weird topping you, should we say, on that one as well. Sort your domestic issue out, and then will allow you to support international. I mean, the problem with not funding Ukraine and Israel is that if you just let them, just run out of money, you can't provide them with the weapons, artillery, and all that sort of equipment needed for them to, win the war. So, and it badly, benefits the the enemies such as Russia and Hamas in this as well. So really and truly, there is a lot of political games being thrown around as well, and it's really crucial, I feel like, that Ukraine does get its money and aid necessary to fight the continuous war as well. But the consequence of that is it just allows uprisers such as Putin to laugh and have a joke about it and take the pee out on the world stage. Putin has been speaking for 4 hours today at his usual annual end of year question answer session. Not much headlines from that personally, but this is significant. We've had this week. We've had the Israel ambassador to the UK with saying that there should be no two-state solution, which I quite frankly are pathetic comments from her. And really and truly, it has not helping the cause for peace between Israel and Palestine whatsoever. But we still got, Israel bombing Hamas, but then again taking out loads of civilians as well at the same time, and targeting, innocent people. This is a war, a war that is, the Israel stuff is a war that's put their barriers up, whereas Russia and Ukraine, again, what the funds need to be there. It's all about the funding, and if no funding is available, then Putin's going to be delighted. I mean, literally, he was banging on about it the other day and taking advantage of all the divisions in US as well. And there's also been a matter today of European Union talks for Ukraine accession talks. Now, Hungary was going to block it and veto it in the EU summit today, but guess what? They disappeared. They abstained and didn't vote at all. Viktor Orban was playing the old tough guy and then decided to chicken out, a bit like the ERG and a lot in the UK. And we had the announcement that accession talks will continue for Ukraine and Moldova, by the way, which is excellent as well. And there are talks on for Bosnia and Herzegovina to start candidate talks. And as well, potentially Georgia as well, which is right on the Russian border. I mean, like part of it is the government system is a bit weird there because you've got one part of it that's really pro-Russian, and the other government system that's really like anti-Russian as well. So it's a difficult system there as well. And Ukraine will be happy with today's event, especially what happened inside the EU, where Hungary chickened out, played the hard man, probably got some concessions off the EU, but nevertheless chickened out. Say bye-bye. And allow the EU, the other 26 countries, to vote to accept further talks, accession talks for Ukraine and Moldova, which is excellent, by the way. More countries in the EU, to protect their safety is excellent. So, yeah, it's been lively for international affairs, and I think today Ukraine, Moldova, Bosnia, Georgia will be really happy with what's happened in the EU Council. And it's made Viktor Orban especially weak as well.
Well, I certainly think it's going to be an interesting development, this war situation, because it's been going on now for a long time. Obviously, this war in Israel has been going on now for about a couple of months. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what the comments come out from the world leaders in the next few days. All I'm going to say is stay tuned and watch this space for more on the war. Now it's time for Plank of the Week. Now, here we go. I have 2 nominations this week for Plank of the Week. The first nomination is Twitch. Now, Twitch have made a pretty crazy move when it comes to this. Here we go, guys. Twitch have announced revamping rules on sexual content. Adults content such as nude drawings and sculptures are now permitted on the streaming site as long as it's deemed artistic. Creators can now stream video highlighting their breasts, buttocks, or pelvic region. The Amazon-owned site channel has announced. Twitch, which has run Site Gamer, says part of revamp of its confusing rules on sexual content, a blanket ban on pornographic material remains in place. Okay. I'm kind of now... It sounds like they're in the devil in disguise. I mean... Like,
wow,
honestly, I find it weird just like announcing that, and like you can, by the way, someone I know, like I used to work with a guy at a radio station who's done something like this, and he got nearly put in prison for it. It's like why would you do this? Honestly, oh god. I honestly, we'll get Zach's reaction in a minute to this, because I honestly, I think this for me is clearly a Plank of the Week. Another nomination as well, Gary Lineker for continuing
of course,
break the impartiality rules on the BBC, criticising the migrant crisis again. I mean, clearly Gary Lineker has got more to talk than his own Twitter account, potentially causing more problems, as I think you would say as well. And also as well, another one as well. There has been. I want to talk again about London again, because I think London has become part of this segment a lot recently. News in London and anywhere else, because I want to mention about another set of news that's happened recently, is that there has been yet more issues when it comes to the Royal Society of Arts gets the nomination this week. It's been announced that the Royal Society of Lance apologises after the Israel event was held at a London venue. There's investigation into an event of support. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators are gathered outside the building on Thursday. The Arts said it was neither condones or nor endorses the event, which claims to be held by external clients who did not know the full event details in advance. DEC Prime Minister Oliver Dowden and the US and Israel Ambassador Tipas Hovati were among those appearing at the event. So, these protesters have been everywhere. And I feel like they're kind of supergluing themselves to everything, a bit like Just Paul will, but it more peacefully, I suppose. But yeah, Zach, what do you make to the latest news from my planks of the week this week?
All right, let's start with the Twitch stuff. Blimey, so you can get your poppers out on stream now by the looks of it. Yeah, you can't actually. So it looks like the rules are suggesting that you can't show proper up your doggy stuff things, but you can show your popper, you can show your plumes, but you know, as part of revamped rules, you can do nude drawings, which I don't know. I mean, you see all these random things that, you know, in garden shops, but it's banned on Twitch. I guess so. Creators can now also have it highlighting their breast buttocks. I mean, like, all right then. I guess. Oh, but you know what? It's just isn't it a bit inappropriate? I mean, there's why someone's got the biggest breasts in the world and they're flashing it out on their stream or anything like that. Oh, come on! I mean, it might be good for some viewers; they might get turned on by it. But hope there's an age warning on it, because, quite frankly, oh dear, I think I'll avoid watching, really. If I really was keen to watch it, I mean, yeah, I might go in another room somewhere. But no, it's not my cup of tea, I'm afraid. I watched the proper streamers, not the ones that show themselves off and turn their site into OnlyFans or anything like that as well.
Yeah, not ideal. Zach, what's your planks of the week for the last week?
My plank of the week goes to Marc Francois. Just simply because I got two, actually. I've got two MPs. I'll come to the other one in a minute. Marc Francois, because he can't organise a whipping in a brewery, really, to be fair. He's one of his team briefed out there was 100 MPs that were going to abstain on the Miranda bill. Turns out it was only the 29 that weren't paired that voted against it. So, yeah, it looks like he can't organise a whipping in a brewery, like I said as well. So, yeah, it's not gone really well for Marc Francois this week. Briefings that they're all going to vote against, not going to support it as well. Yeah, it's not really gone really well for them, really. The second one I'm going to give to for the plank of the week is Scott Benton, the independent MP that has been given a 35-day suspension from the House of Commons. The reason why Scott Benton has been given this as well, or will be hopefully voted on for a 35-day suspension, being recommended. He was caught on camera doing some serious breaches of lobbying rules as well. He was caught in a meeting with newspaper reporters posting as gambling industry investors. He was caught offering to lobby ministers and tabling parliamentary questions. And as part of the sanction, will lose any salary for the duration as well. So, yeah, he was caught on camera basically trying to lobby to a certain gambling organisation where actually they were a fake company. And he was also caught on camera trying to bend lobbying rules as well. As an under kind of sting report. So he's been recommended. So the commission, the Stands Committee have recommended a 35-day suspension for Scott Benton. And now, if that goes through and is voted on and is approved by Parliament, he will be subject to a recall petition in the Blackpool North constituency. I think it's Blackpool North constituency seat as well. If 10%, obviously. I think it's Blackpool. Blackpool South. Sorry, I'm not Blackpool North, but Blackpool South. If 10% of these constituents sign that recall petition, if it does go ahead, then there will be a by-election in Blackpool South. There is a majority of just under 4,000 that constituency, and is a red wall seat in the 2019 election that was won from the Conservatives that they gained off of Labour. So if you look at what in terms of in terms of the majority had, then if it went to a by-election, then Labour could easily overturn that margin as well in a by-election and regain that seat as well. This will be probably one of the easiest seats for Labour to win all year if they do get to a by-election stage of that. And I'd kind of hope they would try to get a by-election because the allegations have been very serious. And Scott Benton overall is just a knob. Really, I know generally he's just a knob. So yeah, it'd be for bittersweet to see him get a 35-day parliamentary suspension. And probably would be well deserved in the undercover report that went out, and he's been obviously recommended with a suspension now as well. So yeah, Mark Francois, Scott Benton, 2 Tory MPs, and 2 plank of the week for me.
That's plank of the week this week. So that is all of the nominations there. If you please send us in your plank of the week below. I'd love to hear what you think. Comment down below in the comment section about what your planks of the weeks are. Who do you think's been the worst performer this week? What's been your most craziest news story you can think of? Just let us know, and we'll read them out on the show. That's all I'm going to say. You've heard me and Zach's plank of the week nomination. So, yeah. Moving on now. Just before we go on to the sports news, I just want to quickly mention I'm a Celebrity news now. And congratulations to Sam Thompson, who won the series this year, become the King of the Jungle after an all-male final. Second place, of course, was Tony Bellew, the boxer, the heavyweight, former professional boxer. And, of course, third place, or if only a lot of people were going to remember it, GB News presenter and former Brexit Party MEP Nigel Farage, who had to put his head in with snakes on the final Bush Tucker trial. Zach, what did you rate to the final episode of I'm a Celebrity, and obviously to Nigel Farage's commitments being in the jungle?
Yeah, so no, that's it's a big big moment. Actually, that's what happened. There's congratulations to Sam Thompson, a funny guy, just an excited individual, who deserved it really. He was sensational. He was funny. He was entertaining. He was exciting, and overall, he was just a fun lad. And he was someone that you could be around the campmate, no matter who he's with. So for the public to vote King of the Jungle, I think it was a well-deserved victory for him as well. Tony Bellew was a great second-place person as well. I mean, yeah, he brought some energy. He was really good mates with Sam as well, and that was very well-deserved for second place for him as well. Nigel, he finished the same position as Matt Hancock did last year. Third position seems to be the position for politicians at the moment, but yeah, he got that far. And well, I mean, he wasn't actually that bad in the jungle. Let's just be fair to him on that one. He wasn't that bad. The controversial nature of him being on there, I suppose, might put some people off, but overall, I think that people were voting tactically in that day, trying not to get Nigel to win, and was then voting to Sam and Tony. But I feel like for me, once that Nigel was out of the way, I feel like it was always going to be Sam that was going to win it. And yeah, I was supposed to bottom new King of the Jungle. Congratulations to him, Sam Thompson. Obviously now back home with his excellent other half of Zara McDermott, as well, who obviously didn't make it out there, but held a house party, and the scenes were pretty savory from there onwards as well. But congratulations to Sam, a well-deserved winner. And yeah, another year goes, and then we're back next year. Let's see if they can get some better celebrities next time, I have to say, though.
I remember as well, if you watched Nigel after the show, he went straight on to, I think, GB News or Good Morning Britain, and then spoke about immigration being out.
Oh, yeah.
Back to the political stuff.
Yeah, he was straight at it.
Whilst the others all went back to their normal day jobs as presenting or going on Made in Chelsea or whatever. Family. It's great as well to see the family reunions as well. Honestly, Marvin and Rochelle, it was amazing for them to come back together. Obviously, Marvin and Rochelle are both former singers. Obviously, Saturdays as well for Rochelle. Marvin, obviously a member of JLS, who are still currently touring at the moment. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting as well. So we're going to go over some concert dates in a bit, actually, because I wanted to talk about some music news tonight on the show. But coming up now, we're just going to go over the sports news. Football, obviously, is going to dominate mainly the sport news tonight. We've had European fixtures on this week. We've had Premier League on. I mean, Zach, this week for the football has been chock-a-block of everything.
Yeah, let me mention what's happening in the football as well, because there's been lots of European actions and lots of implications this week as well with what's happened. Let me start with the Champions League as well. We knew that Arsenal 1-0 with PSV. I mean, they were through anyway. They can pretty much confirm their top spot position Tuesday. But for Manchester United, it wasn't for them. They lost against Bayern Munich. A costly loss, which means they finished last on the table and they're completely out of Europe as well. I mean, it was always going to be a tricky game for them, but yeah, they just poor performance overall throughout the whole season. The whole Champions League group stage has just been poor. Obvious times that they could have won, they wasted it away, and yeah, they're out. Man City through Wednesday as well. 3-2 victory, I think, for them as well. I think over it was a Red Star. I think it was as well. It was a very significant victory as well. I mean, it wasn't significant because it was a dead rubber pretty much. They were already going to go for top, finish top, no matter what. But yeah, on that side of things as well. Yeah, I think it was a good match for them. Obviously using the weaker side as well. Newcastle, PSG. I'm sorry, Inter Milan. Sorry, AC. Was AC Milan?
AC, yeah.
Yeah, heartbreak for Newcastle, missing out at the very end, last in the group as well, out of Europe. Very disappointed. Just very unlucky, and I just feel like PSG last week they should have won. Shocking penalty decision, I think, cost them. I think
the VAR came in. The VAR's been controversy, isn't it?
Yeah, the VAR was shocking that last game, but they were outplayed this game as well. I'm just unlucky towards the end as well. First half goal, and then missed out as well. But yeah, not as being as good. So it's a bit of a shame, really. Tonight's been better though. Tonight's been better. Let's talk about the Europa Conference League. Tonight's been better. Aston Villa comfortably top of the league. 1-1. They managed to draw 1-1, but they finished at top of the league, which means they go through to the last 16 rather than playing to the last 32. Liverpool as well, I think. What was the Liverpool result? I'm trying to look at that one as well. I think, let me just check. They actually lost. Liverpool lost tonight. But I do not think it mattered because they also played a weaker team as well. And if you look at the table here, they were already at top. So this was a dead rubber for them. They did lose, but they won a weakened side as well. So it's not really surprising that they really quite lost in that one 2-1, but they could have gone better, but not as well. So yeah, that was Aston Villa's through in the conference. Liverpool and Europa.
West Ham also got through as well, just to let you know.
Yeah, West Ham winning as well, top of the group for them. Yeah, good result. A good result through to the last 16 for them as well. And so are Brighton as well. They've won their match. I think they've won their match tonight.
1-0 against Marseille. Yeah.
Yeah, they've won their match tonight, and I believe because of that they are top of the group. In their Europa League stage as well, so that's a big result for them. They finished 30. Yeah, they've won the group, so they go to the last 16 as well. And congratulations to Rangers, who hard fought battle, but won 3-2. They have also gone top of the group. They are through to the last 16 of the Europa League as well. So all the teams tonight have had excellent results tonight. I have to say, the British teams as well. Well done to them in the Europa League stage as well. And I should mention as well Aberdeen as well. Whilst they won tonight as well, I'm afraid they're knocked out. I believe because they yeah, they just they were already knocked out, but they did win against Frankfurt tonight. Eintracht Frankfurt 2-0 tonight, so good on them. But they were out of the competition, to be fair. But good night for the British. I feel like it's been this is a good time for the British teams. Anyway, Europa and Europa Conference League stages, because they're through to the last 16. And don't have to go through to the last 32. They go straight to the last 16 as well, and that's really important for them as well. But this weekend is going to be focused on the Premier League as well. It all kicks off tomorrow night. Nottingham Forest at Spurs. That'll be a tasty match, I feel. 8 o'clock for that one. And then there's a couple of 3 o'clocks on that day as well. No 12:30 match, but there's a few of 3 o'clocks. The pick of the one for me, Man City, Crystal Palace. That's at 3. Chelsea and Sheffield United, that's at 3 as well. There's another big pick as well. Bournemouth, Luton, Newcastle v Fulham as well. That's at 3. Burnley, Everton is the 5:30 on Saturday as well. And the Sunday games, there's quite significant ones in this one as well. West Ham, Wolves, Brentford, Aston Villa, Arsenal v Brighton is going to be a tasty fixture on that day. But look at the main game that we're going to have to be watching out for is Liverpool, the old firm derby between Liverpool and Manchester United. It will be a very, very tasty tie indeed. Old firms have been full of drama, full of excitement, and yeah, that is the one to be looking out for as well, in terms of what's going on in the football. And also, I just want to mention another sport as well, Charlie, if I may aware as well. Tomorrow night is all that. What's also starting tomorrow night as well is the Paddy Power World Darts Championship.
Yeah.
That is beginning tomorrow night as well, which I'm always looking forward to. The World Championship Darts, hell yeah. So that starts tomorrow night as well. And it's going to be the first stage of the tournament. Round 1 is going to be the first stage at the moment as well. And the darting greats come out in force. And last year we saw, just some of them. Just some of them. Remember the final last year? Boy, oh boy, that was a load of good. We left off with Michael Smith winning his one. And my goodness me, wasn't that exciting? But tomorrow, we kick off with a couple of matches. I think there's 4 matches on display tomorrow. This will be round 1. We've got 3 1-1 matches and 2 1 round 2 matches, because they're all in different seeds and everything like that. So some of them go straight to round 2, some of them start round 1. Michael Smith is in action. The reigning champion is in action tomorrow. He'll be playing the last match tomorrow as well against the winner of match 1, which will either be Kevin Dotes or Stour Bunce. Match 2 will be Cameron Menezes, the Scottish, and against Rusty Jake Rodriguez. Simon Whitlock, a familiar face, it's going to be the 3rd game in round 1 against Pablo Noboa. And as I say, Michael Smith will be in action as well on tomorrow, the reigning champion, as round 4 of the 4th game of the day as well. And there will be 8 more matches on Saturday and Sunday as well. And we'll have mixtures of round 1s and 2s as we get close as well. But tomorrow night it kicks off with Kevin Dotes and Stour Bunce from 7 o'clock as well, as the first round matches, and the first set of second round matches as well gets underway with Michael Smith in action, the reigning champion.
There's going to be lots of matches as well. We've got Fallon Sherrock playing as well on Sunday against Florian Hempel. A few years ago, she dumped a couple of men out in the first round. She won Ted Everts and then beat Mensur Sulevic. You remember that match very well. She flew through that one a stallion. She did. But yeah, lots of matches. Lee Evans is playing, Dave Chisnall, Chizzy Boy on there as well. And of course, tomorrow, as Zach said, plenty of matches in. Kevin Dotes and Stour Bunce round 1 match. Cameron Mendes versus Rusty J. Rodriguez. Simon Whitlock, the Australian player, plays Pablo Nebrada. And Michael Smith plays the winner of Dotes and Bunce tomorrow as well. Oh, this is going to be tasty. First of 3 sets, I believe, as well in the first round. So yeah, it will be interesting. We've seen shocks at the World Championship before. Michael Smith knocked Phil Taylor out many years ago. So of course, Phil Taylor is the 16-time champion in the world. So certainly interesting on that one. That's mainly the sports news. Before I go, I just want to mention motorsport news now. Last week we covered really the Daytona 500. The Daytona 500. The 24 hours of Daytona now as well. Now, I want to talk quickly about some news that I think a lot of you might be interested in now. And that is motorsport now. In terms of news, not really much has been announced in terms of motorsport. Formula One, obviously last week announced sprint races for the new season. But there has been some news regarding Jamie Chadwick, who has unfortunately been split from Andretti as well. She remains involved. The DHL has remained involved with her. Jamie Chadwick, obviously, I think is the Williams reserve driver. I'm not sure. And it says there, Andretti Global Chip Ganassi Racing sponsor and IndyCar champion was confirmed earlier this week. The global logistic giant remained with Jamie Chadwick. It was announced December a maiden campaign, and unfortunately DHL come on board there as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Zach, really, it's been a quite week for the motorsport news, but Formula One, there has been quite a lot of the developments, like Logan Sargent staying on another year at Williams. I think this week, going into Christmas, we're going to see a lot of teams probably tease their lineups for next year. But I have one feeling that possibly one team we're going to be keeping a close eye on is AlphaTauri with their name rebrand.
Yeah, we're going to see a name change from them. We don't know which one they're going to be at the moment. We're looking like it's going to be Racing Bulls as well. We're going to hear Red Bull and Racing Bulls. Probably most likely is the name change as well for that one. But the most of the lineups are pretty much the same. We've now got all 20 drivers confirmed on the grid for next season. All the lineups the same. I think all the most excitement has well been off the circuit between the drama between the FIA, Toto Wolff, Susie Wolff, the development of that has all been dropped. But it's all been put a bad name, I feel like, for the FIA as well. I think we've been the biggest loser out of this as well. With quite frankly, an ill-executed investigation of any conflict between Toto and Susie Wolff. And the lines of the channels of communication that have been with them, they've obviously all been dropped. But nevertheless, as well, it's been a total letdown of letdown by the FIA in terms of their investigation, which gone really nowhere far, and just was a waste of time overall, as well. But yeah, the off season is going to calm down a little bit now. You'll probably see a lot of drivers go back to their home hobbies and everything like that. You might see Lando Norris on Twitch. You see Max Verstappen on Twitch as well. They're gone back to streaming, doing content creations there as well. But it's quieting down now. We are waiting for news also as well. As AlphaTauri, changing their name. We're also waiting the new name for what would be the Alfa Romeo team, which are going to change names next season because Alfa Romeo is no longer going to have involvement with the team. Which is the Sauber-owned Alfa Romeo team, will get a new name. We don't know which one there is, but they're going to announce a couple of sponsors, which will lead to their team before the transition to Audi. Now, this is probably going to be only a 1 year, 1-2 year sort of deal before the transition to Audi and their operations there. But this will be a temporary name change for now. But yeah, we're waiting from that side of things as well in terms of what's happening there as well. But yeah, it's all going to be about really what's going on as well. And we're going to be quiet. It's going to be quiet on this front for a little week. But it's gonna be quiet on that front, and everyone's gonna be resting. But what we're gonna hear when we get back is developments, car developments, probably unveiling of cars and everything like that as well. That's gonna be where everything's gonna happen on that one as well. So yeah, it's gonna be an off season, gonna be quiet. We get through Christmas and winter now, and the new year. But nevertheless, as well, we should all be hearing a lot more about it in the new year to come, Charlie.
It's going to be interesting. So that's all of the latest news there on sport. Now it's time for Conversation Street this week. I'm going to talk about one thing I did yesterday, actually. I thought I'd share this with you guys. Yesterday, personal experience, I went go-karting at Team Sport yesterday. I have to say, finished 5th out of 7 drivers. I went with a couple of mates. One mate, obviously, his name's Lewis, if he's watching the show tonight, probably at West Ham match. But yeah, I just want to say, I raced with a couple of guys at the event yesterday. Honestly, this is a great track. I know it's Basildon. It's an easy. I'd say it's an easy-ish track. I mean, Zach, I'm sure Zach. I know you've raced on there.
Yeah.
Social media as well. It is a fast track, guys. I just want to say to all the listeners who've never done go-karting before, it's a fun little experience, you know. Like, I was racing proper hard yesterday, you know, going around them corners, racking the laps up, and it felt honestly like I was Lando Norris all over again, racing around that track. It's a fun little track, you know, and Team Sport don't just have that track, they have loads of tracks across the country. They've got one in Harlow as well. They've got one in the Docklands, which I think has a bank corner. It's a really fun little event. I mean, like, if you want to try something new, go for it. But if you love motorsport, like both of us do, I think it's a great pick. I mean, you know, I must admit, I think I got 47.7 or something on my lap time. I was overtaking a few people as well. And yeah, when you get the experienced karters come up behind you, like you can't see behind, and you're like, oh, someone's approaching from behind and you can't see them. You're like, oh, I have to get out. I have to try and not race them. You have to essentially be a blue flag. So it's quite interesting. I mean, Zach, what do you make, obviously, to go-kart? And obviously, I went on petrol karts the other day. I know some of the others are electric. Do you think that go-karting, particularly places like Team Sport, is a great experience? And do you think, like, petrol and electric karts perform very differently over?
I can't remember which car I was on, especially when I went. But yeah, my experience there was extremely fun. It's go karts are quite different because they don't have brakes as such on them. The ones I tried out on them, you just get off the throttle, and then you have to turn really tight. The steering's a little bit hard sometimes, but yeah. When I went out for my first experience, as well, because I did 2 runs. The first set of runs for me, it was just getting used to the go-kart and just getting used to the basic function of it and trying not to go crash into anything as well. The second runs, I have to say as well, the go-karts feel certainly a lot more slippy, if you ask me. In terms of, because they've already been out once, they're probably really hot, they're slippy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, it really is. It's exciting. You can do races there, you can just do time trials and everything like that. But once you get used to the whole thing as well, it's all really good and all really exciting. And yeah, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I really enjoyed it when, especially I went on there. But yeah, I can't tell the difference. I can't remember which one I was on. I can't tell if I was on electric. I don't think I was on electric. I was on the petrol one more like.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I must be one of the petrol ones because I can't remember there being electric ones really, to be fair as well. But yeah, it's a fun experience. I'm glad to see a lot of people doing it because it's definitely a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable, and I loved it. And I'm glad you liked it too, Charlie, because it was really good.
It was honestly, it was like just a couple of weeks before Christmas. You're racing around on a go-kart track, and it's like, honestly, like I had to wear all this balaclava and helmet.
Yeah.
And it was like, but that's what you have to wear for safety reasons, you know. That's why F1 drivers wear them, motorsport drivers wear them. What happens, say, if you crash? It protects your head and neck movement. You might feel a bit restricted when you've never worn it before, but once you get used to it, you're fine. Like, you don't really notice it that much. So it's definitely weird. And then coming up and down in that, the cars, like, you go upstairs and like you have to try and generate temperature into tires, you lose the grip. It's one of them places where you feel like the adrenaline's coming in. But honestly, guys, I recommend it. Obviously, Team Sport Karting do lots of different stuff across the UK. They've got loads of go-karting tracks. You've not just got them, you've also got the outdoor ones, like maybe in summer and sort of winter as well. You've got like Brentwood, you've got lakeside karting. There's so many other options. And I think go-karting is a sport. We've seen many racing drivers start in go-karts and end up in, like Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, ended up in top tier racing. So, yeah. And obviously as well, guys, if you want to go and check Lando Norris's YouTube channel at Quadrant, if you want to watch the Mario Kart go-karting race at Buckmore Park, honestly, that Mario Kart character race was amazing. They got so many YouTubers, including obviously the guys at P1, Matt and Tommy, over to race for them. It was a great video, and I really hope that inspires people to maybe try it go-karting in the future. So Yeah, interesting. Moving on now to other stories I want to mention about. Obviously, the Coca-Cola van was round here the other day in Basildon as well. So we've been out doing your Christmas shopping around, say, Sainsbury's Way as well. Coca-Cola truck did make its appearance at Sainsbury's in the car park the other day at East Main. So if you were down there looking out for shopping and stuff as well. But the music festivals for 2023 have been announced. I just want to quickly mention some some of Craig David's festivals that he's dropped next year as well. The announcement as well for Drum Sheds is going to be coming next year as well. Drum Sheds have announced their lineup today. That's taking place in London in March of next year. A huge festival. Craig has already announced most of his dates already for 2024. Here's the list on Craig's official website. Of course, known for the hit song 7 Days Walking Away, Born to Do It. Sold over 7 million copies when it came out in 2000 as well. So the tech festivals, we've got loads. TS5, London, 23rd of March next year. TS5, Drum Sheds. And then we've got 3rd of May. He'll be playing at Brighton for Pub in the Park. No, it's TS5, TS5 in the Park. 18th of May, another one, Tunes in the Dunes in Cornwall. And that'll be an interesting festival. Port Talbot, Wales is going to go for In It Together Festival. Pints in a Field, that probably will be another pub one. That is in 8th of June, along with Warwick Castle. On the 6th of July, JLS are going to be performing there on, I think, the Friday. So JLS are going to be heading there as well. Prospect Park, 19th of July. 2nd of August is at Dreamland Margate. That's in Kent. So, yeah. Craig, and also as well, 31st of August, Hitchin Priory as well. Zach, what do you make to Craig David's announcement so far for his bumper schedule of 2024 concerts?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of events that he's doing there as well as part of his TS5 one as well. I have to say, some of his highlights, if you look in there as well, Prospect Park is, quite a popular one to go to. Into It Together as well. That's a good festival to be at. Pints in the Field, Hitchin Priority as well. Yeah, there's a lot of festivals that are happening in 2024 as well. One of the ones I want to mention as well is Creamfields. That's not the Creamfields South has been chopped for next year. That's going to be merged with Creamfields North, so there's only going to be one Creamfields next year. Rather fortunately, it was a bit of a shame, but for the South Sounds, but it's going to go to Cheshire instead in Daresbury. Instead, so that's going to be really the only Creamfields event's going to be happening next year. But we also got you got your typical festivals: Reading Festival, Leeds Festival, Glastonbury Festival. We don't know who the final line is up as well, but we do know that for there's been some rumors about who could headline the festival, but that will be taking place between the 26th and 30th of June, obviously at Worthy Farm as well. We know the Reading Festival one has been announced so far as well for 2024, and I can tell you the Reading Festival lineup. There are certain announcements in terms of the artists that are going to be playing there. So you got Fred again, you got a lot of big DJ artists there. You got Lana Del Rey, you got Blink 182 as well. The Return of the Catfish, the Bottle Men. You got Liam Gallagher as well performing next year as well. Jerry Cinnamon, 21 Savage the rapper, the Prodigy. Controversial bit in there. They changed their song "Smack My What's It Up" to "Put My Pitch Up" or something like that. As a bit of a controversial one, that one. But some say that's woke culture striking again, but that's what they decided to do. And you got big artists such as Georgia Smith, Ray, Skrillex, Spirit Box, which I've enjoyed one of their songs this year actually, and then Digger D is also as well returning to Reading as well. We don't know what the Glastonbury lineup is there as well. But yeah, lots of festivals you're going to see as well. You're going to have your Ibifas, you're going to have your usual lots as well. Lots of summer festivals coming next year as well. And once we get to the summer, boom, it's going to go off and off and off. And there'll be a lot to enjoy, I think.
Yeah, plenty of festivals and lots of great content on that as well. Now it's time for the musical interlude. And we're now going to play for you a song by Michael Bublé this week. If you love Michael Bublé as a singer, I certainly do. Christmas album. Very popular. Last week we played, of course, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Not Mariah's version, Michael's version, but the slower version. This song it's a short hit, this one. So I hope you enjoy it. Of course, known for classic covers of Frank Sinatra songs and stuff like that. I'm going to play for you this one. This is a song that he done on one of his albums. This is Love You Anymore. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Just because I wander around the places we would go, hoping that I'd run into you one last time. Just because I never took your picture of my phone, doesn't mean that you're still on my mind. Just because I accidentally slip and say your name, when I hear a song that makes me insecure. Just because I know I'll never ever feel the same, doesn't mean I love you anymore. Am I lying to myself again when I say you're not the best I've ever had? Am I lying to myself again when I say that I'm not missing you so bad? Just because I'm on my knees and swearing I would change, and I'd do anything to hear you say I'm yours. Just because I know I'll never ever feel the same, doesn't mean I love you anymore. Well, I say you're not the best I've ever had. Am I lying to myself again? Well, I say that I'm not missing you so bad. Just because I'm on my knees and swearing I will change, and do anything to hear you say I'm yours. Just because I know I'll never ever feel the same, doesn't mean I love you anymore. Doesn't mean I love you anymore. Doesn't mean I love you anymore.
Thank you there to Michael Bublé with the song there, Love You Anymore. Wow. It is like, honestly, that is a great romantic love song there. I honestly love that song. Zach, what did you make to that song before we move on to do the papers?
Oh, that was lovely, wasn't it? Yeah, I've heard that one before actually, and I don't know how many times I've heard it before, but it's cute. And yeah, brings you a bit of warmth and love to it, I have to say as well. It's a really good song.
Yeah, it is. Michael Bublé is one of those singers that I think loves everyone. Of course, if you love classic covers, if you love any song, Michael Bublé's a kind of like a contemporary artist, really. The Great American Songbook is what Michael Bublé is all about. Classic songs, modern songs. I'd also go and check out Higher as well, one of his latest albums he's dropped. Lots of good songs, including the song Higher as well. I'll Never Not Love You. There's also a couple of other songs on there as well. It's a really good album. I enjoyed that album when that first came out and listened to a couple of songs. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. We've got one more song to play for you right at the end of the show as well to close this out later on. But it's time now for a quick review of the press preview of the newspaper headlines now. Let's go over we've got a few newspapers to go through tonight. Probably quite a few of them. Obviously, if there's some stories, we'll merge them together so we can assess that. Let's go with the headlines here. The Daily Mail goes for, where's Alex been for the last 6 years? That is to do as kidnapped on a boy's Pyrenees to freedom. The Guardian goes for held in Europe and the Hamas plot will stand till the end on the front line in Ukraine. The I newspaper goes with the highlights Bank of England alert of a possible interest rate hike next year. Metro goes for cover story of Alex Batty found in France disappearing in 2017. And I think that's the newspapers that have been released at the moment. There might be some more coming out. If I've missed any out, we'll get them through as we come in. Zach, what do you make of the latest newspapers so far that have been released?
Yeah, a bit of a shortage of the papers tonight. Only 4 released so far, and there's obviously 2 that share the front cover. Let's do the Mail and the Metro together because they pretty much focus on the same story. The story of the missing teenager, Alex Batty. He has been missing for 6 years. He's a teenager from Oldham. I mean, he's 17-year-old, the boy, just 17. He's been missing for 6 years. So he went missing since he was 11. But he's been found in France, in Toulouse as well. He's been missing since 2024, found on Wednesday by a motorist who spotted him walking through rain in Revel near Toulouse. He used the motorist's phone to message his grandma in the UK saying, "I love you, I want to come home." He disappeared after going on his holiday with mother and grandfather in Spain. The pair who do not have parental guardian of Alex have not been located but remain wanted in connection with his disappearance. And as well, the British boy said he's been in France for 2 years. He's been living remote in the Paran area, traveling about from place to place in kind of intermittent commute. They're in a foot with Bernese, known for attacking people's search for alternative lifestyles. Alex won't say where his mother is, where he's been living in the Pyrenees as well. His grandmother and New Guardian has said, told the Sun News that she's now been in touch with Alex. I'm so happy I've spoken and he's well, which is good to see as well. But it just shows you, right, okay, number one, the parents nowhere to be seen out of this. It's still being wanted by his parents. It's quite, shocking on that front as well. And, number two, I'm glad he's been found. The fact that he's been gone for 6 years since he was 11, life must have been really hard for him. And the fact he's had to grow up knowing that his parents have been the kidnappers, nearly abducted and tried to kidnap him, it's been really hard for him. And the bravery he's put on throughout it is incredible. It sounds like he's been living his life, really. Generally, it has. But he's obviously wanted to be found. And, his parents have been riding for him, rightly so. But I'm glad to hear that he's okay. He's in good health. And he's doing well. It's really good to see that he's been found, at least by someone who's been looking for him as well. It's just, honestly, I don't know. It's incredible, really. He's been missing for 6 years. And finally, he's well and healthy. He's been found. Honestly, it's a relief to all. Let's do the Guardian. We will stand till the end of the front line, until the end on the front line in Ukraine. This is in Avdiivka. Avdiivka, in the eastern Ukrainian town where it's been attacked by Russia as well. They've been trying to see Avdiivka as well. First launched a massacre front assault, dozens of places, equipment destroyed. Then expanded armors columns in different directions. Now, in a third way, small groups of infantry are being sent to penetrate Ukrainian positions. There's lots of bodies as well. There's a lot of war and blood in that area. But Avdiivka is a key area for Russia to try and gain in the eastern town. But it's not having a lot of luck at the moment. But the Guardian got a report in the front line what's going on there at the moment as well. It's a lot of action happening at front. We're going to try and do the eye as well. Interest rates may have to rise next year. The bank, the interest rates decisions have come today. They remain at 5.25% as well. And that's for, I think, the third consecutive month they've remained flat, the interest rates as well. The Bank of England today have warned that this interest rate is not going to come down anytime soon. It's going to remain flat for quite a while. And my phone's going off. I'm just going to ignore it for a while. Can't be bothered. The interest rates are remaining as they are. That's not good if you're on a mortgage, your house that, and you're especially struggling with paying your mortgages and your rent and so. It will be that remains difficult. If you're a saver, it's good for you that the interest rates remain that high, because that means you get more interest in your savings as well. But I think a lot of people want interest rates to start coming down soon. But the Bank of England have basically said, well, it's not going to come down for a while because of the economic situation. It's still volatile, and so it's right that they keep the interest rates as well. And they've actually warned they may have to even rise as well. That further hikes may even be needed to even reduce the inflation. Inflation is not going to make supposed to come down as much next year as predicted. So it's possible that, they're even talking about an interest rate hike is not the news that a lot of people want to hear as well. Unfortunately, as well, Ian Duncan accused the bank of a crash in the economy as well, and he called for base rate reductions in the year. The US Federal Reserve have basically froze their interest rates as well again for another month. It's not surprising. I feel like a lot of the bank's calculations at the moment worldwide is just not touch the interest rates at the moment and do this when necessary at the moment. But it's still something to keep an eye on. And I noticed in the IBIT, they've got an opinion piece from Simon Calmer, a bit controversial. It says here, why we need more 20-mile-an-hour speed limits. Wales, are we listening? Are you listening? Is anyone, Wales? Got a good idea. Good on. Yeah. I'm sure Wales are listening very carefully as well. And then that Express has just been released whilst we've been talking as well. Mystery phone calls from missing Gaynor to friend. Gaynor Lord. Missing mother Gaynor Lord on the day she vanished. Missing have been made 2 phone calls to a friend on the day she disappeared. It's merged. Julie Butcher was contacted twice in 2 hours, but told her friend she would have to call her back. The reason for the calls is unclear, but she's still missing and still yet to be found, as she miraculously disappeared from the site of the scene as well. So hopefully she comes back soon as well. And find something else. And I just want to go through, and obviously I don't think we've got any other papers as well. No, that's it. So that is we've not got much paper, but that is the papers for tomorrow, the 15th of December. I'm sure there's more going to be updated through the night as well, Charlie.
Yeah, you can watch like paper review shows. I think they've been coming out 10:30. Also, Question Time's on now as well, I think, on the BBC. So, you want to watch BBC Question Time as well, the latest news from politics and stuff. But that is unfortunately it for the Tonight Show podcast this week. Obviously, next week we have we're going to have a Christmas edition next week. So that will be coming up. We'll be talking a lot about Christmas as well, Christmas things, and obviously news stories that come through as well. Christmas films will be mentioned next week as well. If any of you got any, please send us in your Christmas. Actually, before we go, I would like to mention some personal news actually. Because there's been a lot of news regarding American actor Bruce Willis, who is unfortunately not in a great state at the moment. Unfortunately, it's been announced recently that he's been diagnosed with dementia. Obviously, Bruce Willis, if you guys know, was in Die Hard, the original Die Hard film, has also appeared in Over the Hedge, Armageddon, so many films. I mean, Zach, this must be a difficult time for, obviously, Bruce Willis's family, and especially the American film industry as well, because Bruce Willis is one of the biggest, most popular actors in America as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's obviously a difficult time. Obviously, if for him, and I'm just obviously wishing him all the best, because obviously he's also not in the best condition at the moment. But I think there's a lot of people that are caring for him, giving good treatment, and hopefully he's keeping himself the best of his ability to try and keep himself well and all that sort of thing. So obviously I wish him well and all the best as well, and hopefully he's keep in good health, because it's not brilliant at the moment, and just try and remain well.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, before you go, what would you say your favourite Bruce Willis film is?
Oh, I don't know what my favourite Bruce Willis film is, to be fair. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've watched a few Bruce Willis ones that have starred Bruce Willis in it. I'm trying to think of the ones that he's been included in, because there may be quite a few of them as well. I know you've got Ray, you've got Sasha, Joe. The one I think as well that I probably think is probably interesting enough, I'd say, is the one I remember is Red as well. Red 2. It's the one I sort of remember as well. And I know Assassin was there. Paradise City, that was a good one as well. He starred in that. Bruce Willis as well. And he's also featured in Death Wish, Fortress as well, Looper, Apex as well. A lot of films. So I don't know which one's my favourite, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that he starred in that one as well. As a lot of people recognise from that as well.
Yeah, he's a very, very famous actor, and we just wish him all the best right now, because it's not a nice sensation what happens to Bruce when you see actors like this. It's not great, and that's unfortunately that's the end of the show now. Before to play us out tonight, do you know what? We're gonna continue the trend of going down the Michael Bublé route, because we're gonna put another Michael Bublé Christmas song on.
Oh, lovely!
This time round, this one is a Michael Bublé cover of a classic Christmas song, originally wrote, of course, by Eartha Kitt, back in, I think, the 1950s and 60s. Is Santa Baby. We'll see you again next week for the special edition of the show, for the Christmas special, and we look forward to chatting more about Christmas to you guys next week. So yeah, it'd be a great show. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye. And this is playing us out is Michael Bublé and Santa Baby.
Santa baby, slip a Rolex under the tree for me. I've been an awful good guy, Santa buddy, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa buddy, a 65 convertible to steel blue. I'll wait up for you, do, Santa buddy, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Think of all the fun I miss. Think of all the hotties that I never kissed. Next year I could be just as good if you check off my Christmas list. Santa Pally, I want a yacht, and really that's not a lie. I've been a sweetie all year, Santa buddy, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa buddy, one thing that I really do need would be 2 platinum mines, Santa Pally, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa buddy, fill my stocking with Canucks tips for kicks. Throw me on the first line, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Come and trim my Christmas tree with some decorations bought at Mercedes. I really do believe in you. Now let's see if you believe in me. Santa Poppy forgot to mention one little thing. Cha-ching. No, I don't mean as alone. Santa Buddy saw her down the chimney tonight. Her down the chimney tonight. Oh, her down the chimney tonight.